Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in to watch our video today. We are going to be working on some alcohol ink tumblers using the new Brea Reese alcohol ink. I'm preparing to go to 2 shows in December. So if you're in the Indianapolis area, come out and see us. I'll post the link for both shows in the description box so that you'll have that information. So like I said, we're going to be working on with the Brea Reese Inks today. So I picked these up at Michael's. I've seen them at Joann's. I've seen them online. I've heard really good things about them, and they weren't that expensive. It was $10 for a 3-pack, but y'all know that I already used my coupon. So I think we got like a 3-pack for like $5.50, and they were maybe 40% off or something like that. So it came with 3 packs in each color. So I got 3 colors in each pack. So I got 1 pack that was 3 different shades of blue, and 1 pack that was purple, blue, and pink, since that's kind of my color scheme. Oh man, y'all, I just dropped a whole cup of epoxy and I saved it. Hallelujah. Okay, anyway, back to our regularly scheduled programming. Y'all, Jules would have killed me. I would have died. Anywho, side note, that's why you should always have something covering your workspace underneath your desk. I don't have anything at this house currently just because I work in my living room, but at the new house, I got some of those thick plastic sheetings that you would see in like an office that has like the little prongs on the bottom. You can roll your little office chair. That's what I'm going to do at the next house. So I will post a link in the description as well for the one that I'm going to order on Amazon, just because, yeah, I've got paint on the floor, epoxy on the floor. It's a mess. It's really a mess. But anyway, so I've got my epoxy mixed in equal parts that I'm working with today. I have my 2 glass mason jars. This is just my jars of choice. You can use stainless steel. You can use plastic, although plastic is not double walled, so I don't suggest that. But I just like the glass jars. They're easy to find. This shape is pretty unique. Kind of funky looking. I got them at Kroger in the home canning goods section. It was a 4-pack on clearance for $3.49. So I felt like those would be a good addition to my show. You don't really see this shape a lot. So we're gonna do 2 of these. I've been working on them all week trying to get ready. Got cups, serving trays, coasters. We'll have some home good items. Everything will be epoxy centered work. So, functional art. So I have my epoxy mixed in equal parts. It's a little cloudy because I got some glitter in it. And you can use any kind of glitter that you want. I personally will be using this Michael's Recollection Big Bling is what we call it in my house. You can use any kind though. If you wanted to use these little hollow shreds or stars, or these are like little holographic flakes. Sorry, those are my kids in the background. They're talking. You might hear them again. Just pretend they're not here. That's what I try to do. It doesn't always work. But anyways, I just got my epoxy here, and I'm just okay, let's do it so you can see. Just dumping a little bit of glitter in there. Doesn't have to be very much. Gonna spread all through my cup. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix that in, and then put my gloves on, and then just start spreading it around your glass jar. You'll also want to have some sort of heat handy, like a heat gun or a blow dryer or something like that, so that your ink will move around. You'll want to make sure you wear gloves or some kind of personal protective equipment like finger condoms. Where's the camera on this stupid iPhone? There it is. See, my little finger condoms. We're almost out of those. But where's something? Epoxy is a chemical. You know, read your material, daddy saves the sheets. Daddy. Your material, Jewel, I said your material, daddy safety sheets. Yes. Read your safety sheets about your daddy. But read the material data safety sheet. Good Lord. Okay. So I'm gloved up. Got my epoxy. Now we're just gonna start spreading it. Let's make it so that you can see it. Yeah. So just use your finger and spread your epoxy across the surface. And they're gonna spin. And I'm just gonna wait for it to come back around. You can work on this one if you want while you're waiting for the other one to come back around. If you have a solo machine, you don't have to have this pain like I have. And in this batch of epoxy, because I was doing 2 cups, I mixed up about 30 milliliter, maybe a little more than 30 for this one. Probably about 45 milliliters. And that'll be enough for both of these jars. And these are 32-ounce jars. So it'll be enough to cover the first layer on both of these jars. And have a little left over for my finishing details with the ink. And I'm going right up to the lip, but not over the threads. I'm making sure to get all the way down to the bottom. You want to have a nice even surface all the way around, because if you like leave little spots along the top or the bottom, you leave room for bacteria to get in between the layer of the epoxy and the glass if it gets wet or something like that. So, you know, you always want to make sure you have a good coating. And that'll happen, you know, that can happen regardless of if you use stainless steel, plastic, glass, whatever. If you leave gaps, if you don't get a good seal on it, that epoxy can separate. And like literally I've had some where you can peel it back like a glove. Like you can just peel the whole epoxy skin off. That's why it's important to always wash your cups first. Watch the prep video. We'll have a prep video that we post later this week. You can prep all the cups the same. I wash them with warm soapy water. I dry them really good, and then I just give them a quick rub down with acetone or alcohol, or like rubbing alcohol or something like that. Alright, so I've got epoxy on most of my jar here. I'm just running my finger all the way across it to make sure I don't feel any like resistance. Like I know that I've missed an area because my glove won't glide. Like see there, my glove just gets stuck. It didn't glide there. There's no epoxy in that space. The big glitter flakes kind of help too, because you can see, yes, I've probably got epoxy here. No, I don't. Which is part of the reason I put it in on this first layer as opposed to like sprinkling it over the top on the last layer. I also like to put it in first because when you add the ink on top of it, it gives it a more dimensional look. Instead of the glitter just laying right on top. It's in, it's underneath, it's mixed in with the ink. I just like the composition of that better. Okay, so all the epoxy has been applied. You can see it's not a lot on there. There's none of the epoxy is dripping off. It's just a really thin layer to get your base started. And this cup that I made is just about empty. It doesn't really look, yeah, see, it's just about empty. That's just enough for me to do my white detailing and have a little bit left over. I don't like to waste. So you don't need to mix up a huge amount. So now I'm going to apply a little heat so that we can get rid of those air bubbles. Got lots of micro bubbles, so you always want to just do a little bit of heat. This is just medium, and I'm just going around and giving them a good little pop. Just a quick blast. You don't want to leave it in one spot because your epoxy will burn. It will scorch. You'll smell it. You'll see it on the cup. It'll start to discolor. And I'm going to do this again once I put the ink on. So I'm not giving it a ton of heat, just where I see micro bubbles. I see a spot that didn't get any epoxy. So I'm going to hold on just a second while I wait for that to come back around. I have a light above my station, as you can see. Let's tilt it back so you can see. See that light above my station? I have that there so close because I use it to look for fish eyes, which are areas where the epoxy did not take. It did not settle in that spot. There it is. So you just, you know, take your little glove or whatever and just run your finger in a little circle or add just a dot more epoxy so it will flow. You don't want any little craters. So I'm looking at my colors here, trying to decide which ones I want to put together. I think I want to do an all blue cup. A blue and green with this one. And then I'll do a separate purple pink in that one. And I want to do the darkest color. I've got these three. So I think I'm going to do the darkest green on the top. And the darkest blue on the bottom. So I'm just going to, right above the surface, just a little drop. Ooh, that comes out fast. So just put a few little drops and wait for it to run and spin. And you don't want to put them like right on top of each other. You want to space them out a little bit. And I just kind of stagger them. Put one up near the rim, one down near the bottom. That way when the heat mixes them together, it's going to create a nice blended ombre look. So now I'm going to go in with my medium blue and just fill in the spaces. Same as I did there, but I'm going to kind of overlap them a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I am going to leave a little bit of space in between them, in between the drips. And I'm going to bring it down just a little bit. I love the little big gap there, but once the heat moves, everything will start flowing together. And I mean, it's up to you. You can choose how much ink you want. Some of my cups have a lot of ink. You can barely see the glass underneath. Other cups, I leave more space so that you can see what's inside the cup. It's your personal preference. Everybody's gonna look different. Oh, that one's gorgeous. This one is the sky. I probably should have put this one in the middle, but I think that'll be pretty. And then I'm gonna accent it with some gold pinata. Since the sky is so light, I may just do the gold pinata on the bottom. That'll be kind of different. Okay. I saturated the bottom a little more than I did the top, just because it was lighter. Probably should have did a test sample swab, but I was just so excited. I literally came home and sat down and started. Oh, my pinata ones. This is the pinata ink. You probably won't be able to tell because, you know, my finger, it's got a little ball in it. These don't have balls, but these do have balls. So you want to give it a good shake. Anyone that's metallic, I shake. And then the same for the gold. You just go through and add little drops. Now it separates differently than the alcohol ink. And wait for it to come back around and give a little drop. It spreads kind of, once you apply the heat, it spreads a little more than what I like. So I'm not going to put too many drops there. And I have some white acrylic paint that I'm going to use for some of my finishing details. And remember, I had that little bit of epoxy left over. I'm going to take a dab of white paint on the end of my paint stick, and I'm going to mix it directly into that epoxy. And I'm just going to stir it together. And that's what I'm going to use for some of the white detailing on this cup, just to give it a little more dimension. That white kind of helps break up some of the blue once you go. So I just literally take a few stripes of paint, of epoxy mix, and I just stagger them onto the cup, like very thin little pencil stripes. Like almost if you were getting your nails done, how they sometimes do like the little graffiti lines. You just real thin over the blue, over the white, over the gold, just all over. And then when we go in and blast them with the heat, they'll kind of spread out. Okay, I'm good. That's enough whites. And then take your heat gun, and now we're gonna apply the heat. So for the first coat, I'm gonna do it on high for about 15 seconds, just to get it moving. And you can get it right up on your cup. Like, don't put it exactly on there, but within an inch or two away, maybe a half inch. And as you see, the white paint starts to spread, and it opens and makes little cells, which is called lacing. And that's kind of what you want. You want that effect. So you can add as much heat as you want. And then I just let it sit for a minute, because like I said, you don't want to apply too much heat or your epoxy will burn. So I'm just going to let it come back. That way I can decide where I want to apply heat. Like I see this line here is pretty, still very defined. And that gold, it needs a lot of heat. Oh guys, I'm loving how that turned out. I am going to go back in with that sky blue though, and add just a few drops. But the gold on the bottom, I feel like that was a great touch. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what the buyers say. You know, I've had some hits and some misses. Things I thought would be great and they don't go over so well. And I'm going to add some more of that first one at the top, so that it's all completely. Some of these I would say are really pigmented, and a few of these other ones are a little less pigmented, like I would like to see. It'll be a little darker, like that dark blue, the lake. That was pretty strong. That's what we did in the middle. That was pretty strong with the first one and the second one. They're a little fainter. So, delicate. That's what we call it. They're delicate. And I'm just going to lace a little bit of white through that fresh alcohol ink that we just dripped. Figure out how I want that. Oh, excuse me. And I'm just waiting for that spot to come back around. So now that one is done. I'm going to go ahead and start working on the next one. Thank you so much for tuning in with me. I will post the final picture of that one in the description so that you'll be able to see it. Thank you for crafting your day with me. I hope your project is a success. Drop any questions or comments in the suggestion box. Wait, that's not how it's supposed to go. Drop any questions or suggestions in the comment box and we'll get back to you.